How's it going, gang?
Good. How you doing?
Our first day where I didn't feel like we really took a step forward offensively was not what it needed to be. Hopefully we will respond and come back and have a great day tomorrow. Defensively, I thought the intensity and the energy was great. That's an impression. I'll look at the film, I'll see exactly what I think, but we were sloppy offensively, and consequently we did not improve the way we've been improving on a daily basis to date. But hopefully it will be rectified and we will be after it again tomorrow. But I still am pleased. I just talked to the trainer. The trainer didn't think Eddie was serious, so that's good news. We'll know more tomorrow. Joe's still got a little bit of an aggravated groin. He's been a little bit nicked the whole spring. We've got to see if we can get some more out of him.
Finger?
Who?
His finger?
Finger, I think, is fine. It was negative with respect to the X-rays. You're going to be ready tomorrow, Wade, right? All right. Yandel had a little shin issue today. Since we didn't have the pants on, we'll get him squared away. But I think injury-wise, we're hanging in there. Nick Abel's X-rays came back negative, so that's positive. Hopefully we can get him in a red shirt and finish the spring. Not necessarily with a lot of contact, but still a lot of learning. But we've got a chance to have him back. You know, we'll have to figure out exactly what's causing that and try to get some equipment, maybe modifications. But we should have Nick back.
Eddie have an ankle twist?
You know, I think that's what it was, and that was the same injury that he had, his same ankle anyway, and I'm sure it frightened him, you know, but he's a tough guy. He'll be back.
When you talk about the sloppiness offensively, was it in the past? I mean, anything specific?
No, there were some really good things on offense. I just, you know, it's the first day I thought it just kind of was, we were lackadaisical in the throwing game. It just wasn't good enough for us, and especially for these guys who haven't played a lot of football. The Randall Carrolls, the Jerry Johnsons, the Ricky Marvrays, those guys who we're kind of counting on have to make those plays, and that's what I was disappointed in.
Do you see a bit of offense versus defense kind of setting in, you know, mentality kind of setting in terms of?
Spring football is always that way. I mean, you don't have any scouts and we don't play anybody else, so it's always an offense for defense. And the thing you have to be careful on is you don't create such a schism between the two that you can't bring them back when there's finally time to play Kansas State. But we have to do that, and that's what I talk about, getting close to the edge but not going over.
How much having guys like Ayers and Moore help when you have guys who are playing new positions on defense, whether it be
huge? You know, Akeem Ayers and Raheem Moore and Dayton Jones and David Carter, those guys who have played quality minutes on defense and have done so very successfully, are a huge entity to us on defense to bring around those young guys who are getting their first minutes. You know, Tony Dye and even Sheldon Price have played a lot. Now it's time for them to get to a place where they can be the intensity as well as the talent.
Does having excellent players on specific units, whether it be linebackers in the secondary, does that kind of cover up for whether, you know, if they're
all units need leaders. You know, somebody is going to tell them exactly what to do, and that's a new role for those kids because they've been following the lead of Alteron Werner and Reggie Carter and Brian Price. So it's now they got to step up, and that's just the natural progression of the big time players in your program, and that's what makes it kind of fun and fresh for us as coaches.
Tomorrow you're going to scrimmage. What are you looking to see? What do you need to see?
Just like all scrimmages, you want to see people emerge. You know, it's game. Coaches aren't out there. They get to play, and you want to make sure that it's not too big for them. You want to make sure that they're competing. They're not thinking. They're not looking out of their ear holes. They're playing. And we've got a lot of young guys that need to do that if we're going to be the team that we want to be.
Is it fair to say it's a big game for the running game?
No, I don't worry so much about that. I'm more interested in individuals. I think the running game's coming along. I think we're getting better, and you know this stuff we're doing with pistol, revolver, whatever we called it, is an exciting feature. I don't know that it's a complete package. It's a feature, and but because of the ball handling, it requires a lot of time, and that's why we're spending it.
How do you think the NCAA's rule changes? I think involving there's taunting and the wedge mostly.
The taunting thing won't start until 2011. Is that correct? In terms of it keeping it from being a touchdown, if it happens before he scores. Yeah, that'll be definitely a much talked about thing with coaches. The last thing you want to see is anybody. We haven't had that kind of penalty here, but it'll be a much talked about issue. The thing that I think is a little bewildering to me as a coach is the change in the wedge rule at this late date. I mean, there are a number of programs that haven't even started or are already finished with spring ball that never got a chance to implement that in the course of spring. And I don't know that it's been used enough in the NFL to merit if it's really that much of a difference. We haven't had anybody hurt in the wedge here in the 2 years that I've been back. And I just think it's a little bit, as I said, bewildering as to why we're doing it at this point just because the NFL did it. I guarantee had it been the opposite, the NFL wouldn't have adopted it this late date just because college did it.
Well, how do you adjust that? I mean, I guess it's late. Or how does it affect?
Well, you run and you adjust. You change your kickoff return schemes, and you know I'm fortunate to have a very, very skilled kickoff special teams coach in Frank Gans, and we'll get it done. But I've never ever can't recall a rule as part of the game that happened this late in the deal where people can't be part of it in spring ball.
Thanks.